Welcome! This is my screen background of my video presentation on the techniques and strategies in information gathering to about all the agency government like PNP, military or Philippine Army, PIDEA and NBA and etc. So before we start, I will put my camera first. So there you are. Next page. To God be the glory. So let's start. First, our technique and strategies information gathering is all about PNP. So they have the agency governance scorecard shows how this strategy objectives will be attained. So under each perspective, objectives and targets were identified with corresponding measures and strategic initiatives. So next, they have the first perspective is resource management that will serve as the solid foundation or the succeeding perspectives. Next are the two objectives under the learning and growth perspective, which has the most number of measures. This is followed by the process excellence perspective that focuses on our core functions, which is our value proposition to the people we serve in terms of improving crime prevention and control through better crime solution efficiency, crime clearance efficiency, and national crime index. So next, the most important among the four perspectives is the community that is the beneficiary of our improved police service. The objective of attaining a safer place to live, work, and do business under this perspective will be measured utilizing the Global Peace Index. So first, technique and strategies is that the resource management perspective, it defined that the first perspective is resource management for the PNP to eventually realize its vision. The resources provided in pursuit of its mission should be adequate. Moreover, those resources provided shall be used optimally to help achieve maximum utilization of resources. The PNP must observe high standards of transparency and accountability in all its financial and logistical transactions. So they have also strategic planning. It's a series of preliminary decisions on a framework which in turn guides subsequent decisions that generate the nature and direction of an organization. This is usually long range in nature. Next, prepare for planning. The task of planning should be detailed in a work chart that specifies what events and action are necessary. B, when they must take place. C, who is to be involved in each action and for how long. And D, how the various actions will interlock with one another. Describe the present situation. So, planning must have a mean for evaluation. Without an accurate beginning database, there is no reference point on which to formulate success or failure. We develop projections and consider alternative future states. which means that projections should be written with an attempt to link the current situation with the future. Keeping in mind the desirable outcomes, it is important for the police executive to protect the current situations into the future to determine possible, probable, and desirable future states while considering the social, legislative, and political trends existing in the community. So, we have a lot of strategies and technologies from PNP. So they have also identify and analyze problems. The discover of the problems assumes that a system to monitor and evaluate the current arena is already on place, closely related to the detection and identification of issues is the ability of the police to define the nature of the problem, that is, to able to describe the magnitude, cost, duration, and the expense of the issues at hand. A complete understanding of the problem leads to the development of the means to deal with the issues. Set goals. Making choices about goals is one of the most important aspects of planning. It makes no sense to establish a goal that does not address a specific problem. Remembering that the police departments are problem-oriented, choices about goals and objectives should adhere to the synoptic model. So next, identify alternative course of action, which stated or means earlier, alternatives are means by which goals and objectives can be attained. These are options or possible things to be done in case the main or original plan is not applicable. Plans. So this is the strategies from the PNP. So first they have Upland Jumbo, which is PNP Aviation Security Group or PNP ABSE Group, Police Plan Against Terrorist Attacks. Second, Upland Salicop, which the PNP CIDG, known as the Philippine National Police Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, Strategic Plan Against Organized Crime Groups. So we have also here Loy Pagpapala is the entry point in the conceptualization of the PNP pastoral program for the next 5 years with a total human development approach. So next, the TMG through is its Upland Disciplina that result in the apprehension of 110,975 persons, the confiscation of 470 unlawfully attached gadgets to vehicles, and rendering various forms of motorist assistance. Last, Upland Bantay Dalampasigan that set forth the operational guidelines on the heightened security measures and seaborne security patrol, just like Philippine National Police Maritime Group. So we have also here learning and growth perspective. Under the second perspective, the PNP considered objectives under the label learning and growth. This is crucial for the PNP because it cannot keep doing the same things as in the past if it's to realize its vision by 2030. The PNP realized that status quo and doing business as usual is not an option anymore. It has to look forward towards a future in which it does things much better and more efficient through more capable personnel and better processes than in the past. Thus, it has to invest in its human resources and process so it can win stakeholders stakeholders support and undertake proper, efficient, and effective management of its resources. So this the part of the learning and growth perspective, and one of those are the recognizing how crucial learning and growth, and without any doubt all these strategies priorities within the second perspective of learning and growth will depend upon the adequacy of resources provided by the PNP and upon as the commitment of the PNP to its philosophy framed by service, honor, and justice, as well as to the four core values it has chiseled into its governance charter. Resources and commitment need to go together for them to produce results. So there is other strategies of PNP. So we have here that traditionally police effectiveness are measured in narrow terms such as rapid response times, arrest to complaints ratios, clearance rates, and the like. However, these tradition measurements do not give us a complete accurate picture of police effectiveness. There are numerous elements beyond the control of the police such as education, deficiencies, economic and condition, and family disintegration. While the tradition measures concerning crime do not give a complete picture, they can provide a backdrop in the implementation of COPS, which crimes and crime prevention remain as priorities. Reducing the fear of crime and restoring a sense of security with neighborhoods are important objectives of COPS as well. Increased visibility of policemen, increased access to them by people in the neighborhood, and the increased predictability of policemen on specific beats are all being used to reduce fear and increase a sense of neighbor security. So it is a lot of strategies. We also know there is need to establish neighborhood management teams composed of neighborhood residents and the police of identify problems, set priorities, recommend action, and evaluate the result of problem-solving strategies. So they have also an identifying problems and setting priorities for corrective action. No, um, I can skip that. Once the problem has have been identified, the community policemen working with the management team develop strategies to attack the problems. The team then regroups to measure the effectiveness of the strategies used. One way to determine success is to document whether complaints about the location continue. Others include observation by community policemen and affected residents. Once a problem is evaluated as their corrected or significant improved, the community policeman working with his management team replaces it with another problem from the list of priorities. The process continues month after month, year in, year out. By the end of the initial phase of implementation, the community policeman is expected to have intervention plans for at least 5 major problems identified, joined by the police and the community. Other police officers will assist in getting internal and external support where appropriate to implement the problem-solving strategy. Reports containing evaluation of problem-solving efforts will be submitted to the chief of police or immediately supervisors. So, an innovation to support COPS is to require policemen and supervisor assigned to desks joined to return to uniform patrol duties an average of once a week. Another is to steadily increase the number of policemen assigned to permanent foot patrol beats, there is a need to define foot patrols beats in every locality. Policemen assigned to mobile units will be assigned steadily to the same sector. Specialized functions such as a crime scene investigation, warrants, crime prevention, and traffic safety will be performed by foot patrolmen. Plainclothes policemen will be assigned to geographic zones within their predicts. Although cops require some innovative ways of measuring effectiveness, traditional measures, patrol strength, crime rate, arrest warrants, traffic accident, and reaction time are also useful, provided they are employed in ways suited to cops' goals. The objective and goals of COP were reduction, heightened community involvement, enhanced quality of life do not lend themselves as readily to traditional measurements for some people. For example, the single act of going out of the corner store at night may be postponed until morning because of the fear of crime. That kind of paralyzing fear can become so familiar that is no longer recognized as fear, but simply caution that is clear out evidence of an erosion in the quality of neighborhood life. So how do the police know if they have successfully addressed the fear? If people who once stayed in their homes begin to come out at night, and this nighttime activity become common, this may be measurement of fear reduction. Surveys can be developed to measure this, and Euler less tradition indicators. Similar measures may be taken to gauge community involvement in meeting or participation in neighborhoods watch, the police auxiliary, TANOD, and police community programs and projects. Police administrators, one of the strategies, must conduct follow-up interview to determine whether people who recently called lie police were satisfied with the service they received. They can ask questions as, did the police respond in a reasonable amount of time? Were you treated courteously and professionally? What was the outcome? What was your concern handled to your satisfaction? As the project is refined, community surveys will become a formal management tools of the police. Quality of service at the station headquarters must also be examined, especially noting how telephone inquiries are being handled as well as how individuals who have problems are treated. These reviews will be used to gauge public satisfaction with police service. One of central objectives of CAP is to end the cycle of responding to the same location to handle the same or similar complaints, instead to address the underlying problem that produces the repeated complaints. Of course, strategies will vary from location to location. So before police station can successfully implement community-oriented policing, administration must lay a foundation by ensuring that high level of police credibility exists within the community. To accomplish this, all police response to community needs, whether reactive or proactive, must meet the most stringent standards of discipline and professionalism. Police administrations can ensure that their policemen respond in this manner through careful personnel selection and training, especially in the area of police discretion. When policemen continually conduct their duties in a highly professional manner, police administration can allow a wide latitude of officer discretion. However, maintaining a wide latitude while continuing to enjoy the respect and cooperation of the community. Requires that policemen be personally accountable for the highest standard of professional behavior. If a policeman fails in these regards, all will suffer the consequence of low community confidence in the police. Citizen confidence in the police sets the stage for instituting the police strategies inherent to cops. Response to incidents requires policemen to react to crimes of emergency incident in order to promote citizen confidence in the police. Policemen should swiftly respond to any such incidents, establish and maintain control over the situation. This requires officers to respond proactively to crime patterns. If the police do not carefully manage the response to indicate strategy, their situation can quickly be overwhelmed by community demands. In order to manage increased calls for police service, police administration need to monitor demand and then research as many creative ways as possible to respond to these calls. There are many ways to respond to calls for assistance that do not require the immediate dispatching of a mobile unit or personnel of assigned to specialized function. Other less expensive responses may satisfy the request just as effectively. Managing the limited resources of departments to respond effectively to incidents and calls for service while producing the greatest advantage for their communities requires police officials to make informed professional decisions, and while managers must ensure that their policemen can respond rapidly to incidents, they must balance their effort with the problem-oriented approach to policing. Problem-oriented approach to policing discussed in Chapter 2 is the concept that police must be more responsive to the causes of crime rather than merely dealing with the result of crime. Maintain neighborhood safety can be more beneficial to the community than merely treating isolated neighborhoods problem. This approach represents a significant shift in how both the public and the police view the role of the police in community. Problem-oriented policy is proactive, decentralized approach to providing police services designed to reduce crime and disorder, and by extension the fear of crime. The police achieve this by assigning policemen to specific neighborhoods on a long-term basis. Long-term involvement between the officers and neighborhood residents fosters the development of credible relationship based on mutual trust and cooperation. It also allows a high-level exchange of information between citizen and police officer, as well as mutual input concerning policing priorities and tactics for specific areas of the community. Then, problems-oriented policing also distributes police service more effectively across the community and targets high crime areas for problem-solving approach that allow the police to define and deal with the causes of crime. This helps to neutralize the undue influence of special interest groups that can be the recipients of preferred services when no system of community-based priorities exists. The police can achieve a balance between response to indicates and problem-oriented policing by applying the differential police response tactics. This involves the analysis of demand patterns made on the police by residents of the community. After analyzing the demand patterns, the police then develop alternatives to traditional police responses. alternatives that provide improved community police services at a lower cost than traditional rapid response. Once the police expand the range of possible responses to community needs, a balance, police administrators should allocate resources to ensure the best and most comprehensive need to understand the approach and act in the ways that they support police goals and priorities. Process excellent perspective. So this is a part of the process of the learning and growth. Perspective focuses on people, but it must be complemented by the strategies under the third perspective. Process excellently refers to the different process and practices the PNP uses in carrying out of its mission. The four process of intelligence investigation, operations, and police community relation are given top considered in additional to concrete strategies. Priorities are high. So these are improvement on crime prevention and control and improving community safety awareness through community-oriented and human rights-based policing. So we have community perspective. Moreover, the PNP strategy map makes clear that this is to be done mainly through improving further the positive performance of the PNP and undertaking a sustained public information program utilizing its communication plan or COMPLAN with our view towards strengthening the partnership and cooperation with the communities it serves. Ultimately, the community is best served by capable and highly skilled PNP personnel that effectively uphold rule of law, resulting in a safer place to live, work, and do business. Technique and strategies information gathering about Philippine Army. So we go on to military or Philippine Army. So we have today the Philippine Army support the government's whole of nation approach against insurgency led by the National Task Force to end the local communist armed conflict. The Army provides efficient instrument and structure for the employment of the whole of nations approach and also assists in the implementation of the enhanced comprehensive local integration program offered to former rebels. These efforts complement the Army's sustained anti-terrorism operation on the ground. So we have here techniques and strategy information gathering about PIDEA. So they have pursuant to Section 4 of the Guidelines on the Implementing Rules and Regulation, RR of Section 21 of Republic Act Number 9165 as amended by RA 10640, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency in consultation with the Department of Justice and other relevant sectors hereby agreed to amend item A 1.3 Section 1 of the aforementioned guidelines by adding the phrase physical inventory and photography and by detecting the second sentence therefrom, so that item 1.3 section 1 thereof shall now read as follows. Item A 1.3 in warrantless seizures, the marking, physical inventory, and photograph of the seized items in the presence of the violator shall be done immediately at the place where the drugs were seized at the nearest police station or nearest office of the apprehending officer team, whichever is practicable. Anti-drug operation is one of the strategy that formed by our PIDEA. So, to achieve the desired output, the agency has identified the conduct of anti-drug operation as its main program activities and protects the conduct of anti-drug operation is directly linked to the agency major final output. This impact shall encompass the following performance indicators of the agency. First, we have here arrest of high-value targets. Second, conduct of high-impact operations. Then, next, drug-related information acted upon within 1 hour. So we have here drug control strategies. First, supply reduction, demand reduction. Second, then third, harm reduction. So we go on to the supply reduction. What is supply reduction? Supply reduction involves disrupting the manufacturing and distribution supply chain of dangerous drugs through law enforcement. This also allows political, economical, and social responses. We have here priorities program activities, reducing the illicit supply of drugs, enhancing local and international cooperation, coordination, and law enforcement operation to reduce supply, addressing new trafficking trends, strengthening of anti-corruption measures, controlling precursors and amphetamine type stimulants, and preventing illegal sale and diversion, improving the understanding of the phenomenon of amphetamine type stimulants, and addressing prevalence of new psychoactive substance, targeting clandestine manufacture of drugs, international cooperation on eradicating illicit cultivation of plant source of drugs, controlled delivery, countering money laundering, promotion of judicial cooperation, and strengthening research, data collection and assessment tools. Demand reduction. Demand reduction. What is demand reduction? It is an approach which reduces or prevents people from wanting to and taking illicit drugs. So we have here priority program activities. Provision of education and information to the general public to enable them to make informed decisions about drugs, treatment for drug users, detoxification and substitution, residential rehabilitation, therapeutic communities, community-based rehabilitation centers, social rehabilitation of drugs users by promoting employment prospect and reintegrating drug users into the community. Community development, which address poverty, promotes economic opportunities and the integration of people into meaningful social structures. Research has shown that drug education programs often only work best for those who need it least. Community development that will address the root causes of drug use and reduction of HIV/AIDS risk related behavior. Its coordination with the Philippine National AIDS Council DOH. Harm reduction. What is harm reduction? Harm reduction means that is associated with intervention that reduce the acute impact of drug use. These impacts are as likely to be social or economic harm such as crime of desire, corruption, incarceration, violence, stigmatization, marginalization, or harassment, among others. Priority programs activity. We have here a voluntary surrender under Barangay Drug Clearing Program, support to plea bargaining program, implementation of Balay Silangan program, reformation program for minors under Project Sagip Batang Solvent, extensive nationwide implementation of drug-free workplace program. So we have here our techniques and strategies information gathering about our NBI agency, which having that the National Bureau of Investigation is in the final drafting stage of the creation of the NBI Manual and Standard Operating Procedure for Trafficking in Person and Offline Sexual Exploitation of Children Causes. This aims to improve the efficiency of investigation operations involving trafficking in person and online sexual exploitation of children cases. As part of the implementation of the Strategic Action Plan, 6 anti-trafficking task forces were established to intercept the operations of suspect trafficking at points of entry on land and in airports and seaports. So there is a lot of members of the investigation staff of the Bureau of Investigation will be peace officer with strategies and techniques. They have also to make arrest, search, and seizures in accordance with existing laws and rules. B. To issue subpoena or subpoena duces taken for the appearance of government, expense of any person for investigation. C. To take and require sworn truthful statement of any person or person to someone in relation to cases under investigation subject is constitutional restriction. To administer oaths upon cases under investigation, to possess suitable and adequate firearms for their personal protection in connection with their duties and for the proper protection of witnesses and person in custody, provided that no previous special permit for such possession shall be required. To have access to all public records and upon authority of the President of the Philippines in the exercise of these visitorial powers to records of private properties and concerns. Information System Strategic Plan of NBI. So we have the contents of the first in this trust for modernization is the NBI clearance system. The agency has started to implement this year the National Biometric Clearance System (NBCS), whereby applicants' fingerprints are stored for easier retrieval of records. Through the implementation of NBCS, the use of ASIM identifies in securing NBI clearance certifications will be dramatically minimized. These are the revealed plans about the cross-organizational National Justice Information System where NBI will evolve from housing only criminal records to becoming a central hub for information biometrics. So, we have techniques and strategy information gathering about the PNP CIDG. There's general information also. Website is provide. This PNP-CIDG website is to provide as a public service by the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group. All information the CIDG provides at this site is considered public information and may be distributed or occupied subject to Philippine and international law which prohibited the unauthorized use of the CIDG seal for the use of the words Criminal Investigation and Detection Group. The initial CIDG or any colorable initiation of these words and initial in a manner reasonably calculated to convey the impression that such activity is approved, endorsed, or authorized by the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group updates the CIDG website contents based on information submitted by the respective CID offices response for the information. So there is a disclaimer for the IDG information security intrusion and detection. We go on to the techniques and strategies information gathering about the BGMP. So there is a plan by 2025 the BGMP will have world-class competency based human resource management system to foster continuous professional growth among its human resources. 5 years human resources strategic plan inside the BGMP. So next. They have also a strategic framework which shows in BGMP that a strategic analysis of the identified gaps, the difference between current state as a result of the diagnostic exercises and the future state as prescribed by the vision statement, pointed to two areas of intervention, namely cross-functional collaboration and HR core pillars. They have also core pillars. First, we have a cross-functional collaboration. We in the process of identifying the gaps between the vision statement and the current state of BJMP HR.